for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game.
Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
All right, good evening. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah, man. Today's Thursday, September 7th. 248 days into the new year, just 117 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in downtown Burbank, California, and I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States, hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the Planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? Let's get this going. Man, it's Thursday. Fadernight. I'm in the chair. Open lines all night long. Tonight, Jon Rappoport's going to be here with his No More Fake Newsroom Live, and that'll be at the bottom of the hour. One of the smartest guys on the planet, and, you know, we have the honor of having Jon come in here every single Thursday night for you Fadernauts. Follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Simple enough, at JChurchRadio. That's what you want to do. Now, you want to get in on the action. The sandbox is hashtag F2B on Twitter. Hashtag F2B. We've got a couple of chat rooms where you can go and hang out. If 140 characters limits your creativity, you can go over to KGRA, the Planet, and jump in there. You can go over to Spreaker and get in on that chat room too. Okay? And very simple. Any questions or comments during the show tonight, or any other night for that matter, is hashtag F2BQ. Fade to Black questions. You can email now throughout the show, Jimmy at jimmychurchradio.com. Now, you just got to make the email good because it doesn't come in straight in here. During the pre-show, was flashing the camera around the bunker. And so everybody could kind of see what's going on in here. There are, 6 computer monitors that are running all over the place. So I've got everything up in front of me. Twitter, email, chat rooms. The video links are over here, and that's the audio and playback here. The network setup, if you were looking, that is here. This is the network feed here. And phone calls, and then, of course, Rita's direct messaging in here to me that constantly tells me, how to behave on the air. And that's going on over here. Okay, so boom, 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 boom. Everything is up in front of me. Come and hang out. All right. Let's get this show cracking. I am so excited. There's nothing like a Thursday night for me. Open lines, whether it's here in the bunker on Fade to Black or over at Coast to Coast AM when I get to sit in for George Norrie over there on Friday nights and do open lines over there. It is definitely, without question, my favorite night of the week. Love all the guests. The guests are great, and that's the backbone of the show. But this family, this audience has gotten so big, and hanging out with you guys and first-time callers and experiences and things that you want to share with the world and just have a conversation. It's the best night of the week for me. I just get to come in and wing it and have fun. So let's do that tonight, because right now we have a lot of trauma in the world right now, and I know it goes without saying. It's everywhere that you look. It's in the media, your friends, your family, your coworkers. Everybody is talking about what's going on right now. We just went through last week here in Burbank. We were surrounded with a wildfire, the largest in Los Angeles County history. Went down last week. They got it under control. We did but literally we're standing in our front yard watching the mountains burn right in front of us. And, planes coming in, dropping. It was just crazy, right? And then Harvey kicks in and devastates Texas and Houston. So that's going on. Wildfires all over the country. Now we've got Irma bearing down on Florida, tearing up islands in its path all the way across, heading west. Now it looks like it's going to directly hit Key Largo and then move north and go plow right through Dade and Broward County and go right up the eastern seaboard through Florida. Crazy. And this is a Category 5, 180 mile an hour sustained winds. So we've got all of this trauma going on. So let's just kick it tonight. Let's have some fun, and let's try to escape all of this. And on top of that, if that wasn't the bad news of the year, right, what's been going on with nature around the world, today, finally, you knew this was going to happen sooner or later, and it happened over the last month, and that is Equifax. Equifax said today, the credit reporting company, said today that the personal details of 143 million Americans, United States consumers, were potentially accessed by hackers between mid-May and July. Now, I want you to take note of what I just said. That is almost half of the country. Whoever you are sitting next to now, if you didn't get it, whoever's sitting next to you did. Half. Go to work tomorrow. Take a look around. Half of your coworkers now have their personal information in the hands of hackers. Cyber criminals have accessed the most sensitive of information, including, of course, names, social security numbers, birth dates, addresses, and even the numbers of some driver's licenses. 143 million people. Additionally, Equifax said that the credit card numbers for about 209,000 customers were exposed. And all of the personal identifying information. It was bound to happen sooner or later. Now, where this goes from here, the first thing, I'm just going to give everybody advice right now. If you don't have some credit reporting, LifeLock or something, you better get it now, number one. Number two, you had better call your bank and start checking things, because it is out of control now at this point. Half of the social security numbers in the United States. Now, what's going to go down? You're going to get a new social security number if that was compromised? I don't know. And the blowback, we're going to feel it over the next coming years. But Equifax got hacked. I don't know what is next. And this is the trippy thing. Listen to what I'm saying. Equifax and any of the credit reporting companies, and if you've ever gone to a credit reporting company and got a full background on everything on you and see what they have on you, and you can do it, I've done it, it will shock you. It will shock you what they know. They know more about you than your husband or wife does. Trust me. Think about what I'm saying. They know more about you than your parents know about you. Absolutely insane. Insane. Okay. I talk about this all the time. Hacking, nothing is safe. Nothing is safe. If they want to get to it, they will. And I've talked to and interviewed the most brilliant hackers in the world have been on this show. And those hackers know other hackers that are better than them. And they all tell me the same thing. Give me 2 minutes. Give me 5 minutes. Just tell me what to do, and it can get done. All we need is a target. That's all we need, and we can go get it done. Think about that. All right. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. We have over 700 archive shows, custom apps, Apple, Android, all platforms. It's just $2 a month. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the podcast banner, go to the iTunes store, go to Google, go to the Google store, download what you need. That's free. And then get the app and then head over to our website, go to Libsyn, open up your account, $2 a month. There you go. Updated every single day. Or you can become a Fadernight. And that's very simple. Go to the membership section. Do both if you want. Go to the membership section, autographed hats, T-shirts, all the cool stuff, the bunker cam, private email to me, only for you when you become a Fadernight. Private email, all of the cool stuff that you want, including downloadable archives, commercial free, downloadable. Put it anywhere you want, go and play it. Put it on your phone. You don't have to use up airtime, nothing like that. Okay? All right. Put it on a USB drive. Take it with you. Put it in the car. Right? Okay. Do all of that over in the membership section. Don't forget to check out all of our sponsors, Life Change Tea, GetTheTea.com, River Moon Coffee, New Pharma, Ancient Life Oil, Sacred Skulls, and Studio Dome Speakers. That is our sponsorship family here on Fade to Black. That's how this show happens, live for free every single night. All right, let's get this show cracking. Happy birthday to today. One of my favorite actors today, Toby Jones, is 51. And our dead guys' birthdays today are Eazy-E, 1964 to 1995, tragically died at the age of 30. The crazy thing about that, and I know I've talked about this before on the show, but I had the opportunity to hang out with Eazy-E, just sold him some gear and stuff. But I hung out with him like for a few hours, a few days in a row, a few hours each day. Cool guy, smart, NWA, man. That's all you got to say right there, right? Well, anyway, and then one day I come home, turn on the TV, and he just died. Man, I was just like, how is that possible? He was sick, and he looked good when I was with him. But nonetheless, Eazy-E, little guy too, man. He's about as big as a beer can. Little guy, talented. Buddy Holly, also 1936 and 1959, his birthday today. Also died at the age of 22. Two musical geniuses born on the same day and dying like that young. Crazy. On this day in history, OTD. On this day, 1996, Tupac Shakur is shot in Las Vegas. Crazy day, right? So what's up with September 7th? Yeah, think about that. He died in a hospital in Las Vegas a few days later. Fader fact. The name The First World War was created in 1918. Yeah, by a journalist who felt like it wouldn't be the last. So he called it the first. And that is a Fader fact. All right. Tonight, it's Fader Night. Open lines all night long. We've got Jon Rappoport here with his No More Fake Newsroom Live. Do start off your day every day. I know you want to start it off here, but you can't. We start at 7 p.m. every night, Pacific time. But start off your day at nomorefakenews.com. Fake news, those words, no more fake news, that was Jon Rappoport 20 years ago. That's how long he's been doing this. Start off your day every day at nomorefakenews.com. All right. Now, tonight we were supposed to have a special appearance with Gerald O'Donnell, and we were going to do remote viewing. But Gerald lives in Miami, and the mandatory evacuation orders came in, and he got his family, packed up the car, and left town. He is heading up and to dry, safe ground, and we will get him on the show possibly next week. We got to figure out what's going to happen with Irma, but certainly sometime after that, if everything is good in his world. Okay, so there you go. Our thoughts are with Gerald and his family. The call-in numbers are 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. Now, let's get the show cracking. And again, welcome to everybody out there in YouTube that doesn't get to see the live show. YouTubers go and usually watch. Lots of stuff are going live on YouTube these days, but everybody's there just watching videos and watching the rebroadcast of this show. But now you get to watch it live. So welcome everybody out there. And before I get John in, I wanted to talk about something. It happened today, and that is the Pentagon, aside from Equifax and Irma and everything else that is going on, the Pentagon has many programs. Most of it is secret, okay? There is nothing more secret than its secret space program, the SSP. And I just said secret 3 times in one sentence. That's how secret it is. But with the SSP, we know that it's not that secret. We know it exists. We know that there are departments. We know that there's funding. We know that there are divisions. They have a patch, right? They have a patch. They have a cool logo. They have recruitment videos. You can go and watch those if you want to go check those out. But after that, we pretty much know nothing. Nothing. Except for the X-37B, which I talk about a lot on this show. The X-37B, a super secret space drone that looks like a miniature version of the space shuttle, but it orbits the Earth for months, even years at a time. Doing what? Well, the Air Force doesn't want to say. They just won't. This morning, SpaceX successfully launched the X-37B from Cape Canaveral in Florida. And yes, they had to do it in advance of Irma because Irma's coming to town. So SpaceX gets it off, right? X-37B back in orbit. Its latest mission, how do I want to say this, is once again secret. It's slated officially for 270 days, almost a year, but the Air Force advised in a statement that the actual duration depends on test objectives, on orbit vehicle performance, and conditions at the landing facility. This is according to the Air Force. In other words, there's no telling how long it's going to be up there. That's the bottom line. Could be a couple of years. There's also no telling what it's going to be doing. We don't know. The X-37B, if you don't know, looks like the space shuttle without windows. It's tiny. I mean, compared to the space shuttle, it's tiny. Standing not much taller than a person, right? So it's, on its wheel, it's a little over 6 feet tall. Its wingspan is less than 15 feet, and it weighs about 11,000 pounds. But over the course of 6 flights, it has spent a total of nearly 6 years in space. Think about what I just said. Give that a little ponder, would you? 6 flights, 6 years. The Air Force says its objectives, the primary objectives of the X-37B are twofold. First, reusable spacecraft technologies for America's future in space, number 1. 2, operating experiments which can be returned to and examined on Earth. on this latest flight, the Air Force will only say that the mission is to carry small satellites. And get this, to demonstrate, I'm quoting, to demonstrate greater opportunities for rapid space access and on-orbit testing of emerging space technologies. Say, what? What does that even mean? I'm not even going to repeat that. Bears repeating. The mission is also significant because it is the first time that Elon Musk and SpaceX are now working for the Air Force. Now, that's pretty trippy. The launch took place as the Pentagon started sounding alarms about the importance of having our military orbiting the Earth in case, and this is according to the Pentagon, should war break out. And the Pentagon, in talking to all of the bodies in New York, in Washington, I'm referring to the Senate and the House, the White House, that war could possibly break out in space, and they need to prep for it. So then, hearing all of this, last month, the House of Representatives pushed for the creation of a separate Space Corps, right? That being within the Air Force. And this is where it gets a little bit funky. As secret as the SSP is, the Secret Space Program, and it's dark. It's real dark. It's dark in there. Scary. We have absolutely no idea what Russia and China are doing up there. We don't have any idea. Our military does know, by the way. But again, here's the crazy part. The Pentagon does not want us, citizens of the United States, to know what the Pentagon, what they are doing up there. They don't want us to know. They don't want an official Space Corps. You would think that they would, right? No, they don't want that. They are trying to clamp down. They tried to get the House to stop it. It passed. Now it's over in the Senate. They are fighting with the Senate right now to stop what the House had started. Why? I mean, it's going to be made public, the Space Corps, which could possibly make the money spent official and out in the open, out in the public. How many staff are working? All of this would go public. The objectives, the goals, papers, everything. Pentagon doesn't want that. The secret space program is the one thing that we can't account for. We can't go visit it. Remember Area 51, how secret that we couldn't get out to Area 51. We didn't even know if it exists. Now we know that it does, and we can go out and watch it and look at it. The cover was blown there. A lot of secret black project money being done, but space is a different situation. You can't go check on it. We don't know. They can do whatever they want. The X-37B is orbiting for a year or two at a time on these secret missions. Nobody knows. There's no accountability. We don't have a clue what could it possibly be doing up there for a year or two at a crack. There is no question that with current technology, satellites, GPS and communications, space in general, that's what is important to keep our economy running. Of course, the military runs off of everything going on in space, keeps the country functioning. Think about that. Communications and the internet and everything that is going on in space. If anything happens up there, like with a coronal mass ejection that just happened, we shut down. We're in the dark ages immediately. So that is the military's official stance on this. You know, we've got to keep that running. But the logistics, the network, and design of what's going on right now is so complex. It's so insane. Think about it. We're not talking about stop signs. We're not talking about asphalt roads here. We're talking about real technology, real logistics. We're talking about something so deep, dark, and secret that is going on up there. The SSP, think about this for a second, is probably employing more than 100,000 technicians, pilots, engineers, scientists, programmers. And if you want proof of this, I'll give you proof right now. Think about it. What do we know about? I just told you. The X-37B, that little tiny sliver of the SSP. Little tiny project that's going on, right? How many technicians, pilots, engineers, scientists, and programmers are involved just with that little tiny space plane with a 15-foot wingspan, 6 foot tall, the most secret thing that we've got going, but it's all that we know. Think about that for a second. That's a lot of people employed just for that. So what else is going on? Well, you know what? If the Pentagon and the Air Force get their way, we'll never know. We'll never know nothing. Think about that. And that is the secret space program. This is Fade to Black. Welcome to everybody out there on YouTube. All of you Fadernauts, it's Thursday night. It is Fadernight. And tonight, I'll be right back because we have Jon Rappoport here and his No More Fake newsroom live. This is Fade to Black, followed by Open Lines tonight. The call-in numbers are 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. I'll be right back with Jon Rappoport. Stay right there.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hi, folks. Let's wind the clocks back 60 years. Food was different. Food provided health and nutrition, and using supplements was minimal. Unfortunately, now we have chemicals, GMOs, herbicides, and pesticides that can be quite lethal in the name of our food supply and, of course, the ever-loving dollar. Supplementing our diets can be very important to stay healthy. Cleansing from daily intruders to the body might be critical. Live strong and take charge. Log on to getthetea.com. Our herbal tea is a great way to cleanse from intruders. Our supplements is a great way to maintain and improve your health. When your health is not up to par, go to getthetea.com. No GMOs, no fillers, and organic, and very helpful in keeping you at the top of your game. Life is too short to feel, you know what I mean. Stay in the game, at the top of your game with getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Again, getthetea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Win big with KGRA this summer. Tickets and hotel accommodations to the biggest conferences, autographed books and DVDs, chances to win all-inclusive conference cruises, and private dinners with your favorite KGRA hosts. Click the contest tab at kgraradio.com for your chance to win big this summer. Your contact for the best alternative talk radio on the planet. kgraradio.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
And now, coming to you from the No More Fake Newsroom in deep space, the space that we suspect to be true, the world that it is fed to us every single day by the Ministry of Truth is a lie, a false reality, a movie projected on the screen of our subconscious. This, however, is the breakout. All the screens crash, they all go down, and we see the light of day, a new day. No more robots, no more androids. It's the No More Fake Newsroom with Jon Rappoport. Take it away, John.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you. Good to be here, folks, for my Thursday No More Fake News report. Going to get into some deep issues tonight. You know, the subject of government, politics, political philosophy usually makes college students start snoring if they show up for class at all. And one of the reasons is that real history is not really taught. Because if it were, it would become extremely engrossing, to say the least. So I'm going to just try to drop some tidbits on your heads tonight to indicate some of that hidden history, what it means, and what a few political terms that are thrown around, terms of political science, actually mean. So I want to start with a very famous statement from Karl Marx in 1875 when he wrote, "From each according to his ability, to each according to his needs." Do you know what that means? You could spend a semester in college just dealing with the implications of that statement. But of course, first, we'd have to know what it actually means. And what it means for society is that Marx was proposing a government where those with ability, so to speak, to produce, to innovate, to solve problems, would do so. And then the fruits of that production and that labor and that imagination and creativity would all be funneled to people according to their needs. Okay? People who would be judged incapable of doing those things that the more capable can do. And that would be the structure of this theoretical society called communism or socialism. So the really creative and productive people would actually own nothing of their own creations. It would all be funneled into the government, and then the government would give all of that to those who were in need. That's quite a statement. It's quite a presumption as to how an entire nation or planet should be organized on that basis. As if the people who can create and produce and innovate and succeed would be more than willing to do that, to own nothing and just give it all away. And today, that's becoming a much more popular idea. Well, of course, I mean, wouldn't that be the right thing to do? And shouldn't we do that? And should we have a government like this? And so on and so on and so on and so forth. Well, think about it. Think about it. Is that what you would want? Would you want to live in a society like that? Do you consider yourself to be one of the capable people or the people in need? And we mean permanent need here. Permanent need. So let me give you another way to look at this, a completely opposite way. And that would be that those who create and innovate and produce do in fact own the fruits of their labor. It becomes their property, so to speak, and it is private property. They own it, as long as they're not interfering with the freedom of other people, as long as they're not damaging or harming other people, and therefore committing prosecutable crimes, it's theirs. Which side are you on? And have you ever really thought about that? Well, I think you should, because trends are upon us, folks. I'm not talking about Donald J. Trump in particular. I'm not talking about Barack Obama in particular. I'm talking about the trend of government on this planet. And that trend is certainly moving in the direction of Marx's statement, which is to say, in the direction of socialism. And I want to give you a statement that is kind of tinged with that was recently made by the mayor of the most powerful city in the world, New York, Bill de Blasio. I want you to listen to this as I read it. Pick up the insinuations, and the subtleties, and also the in-your-face part. He says, what's been hardest is the way our legal system is structured to favor private property. I think people all over the city of every background would like to have the city government be able to determine which building goes where, how high it will be, who gets to live in it, what the rent will be. I think there's a socialistic impulse, which I hear every day in every kind of community, that they would like these things to be planned in accordance to their needs. And I would too. Unfortunately, what stands in the way of that is hundreds of years of history that have elevated property rights and wealth to the point that that's the reality that calls the tune on a lot of development. Look, if I had my druthers, the city government would determine every single plot of land, how development would proceed, and there would be very stringent requirements around income levels and rents. That's a world I'd love to see, and I think what we have in this city, at least, are people who would love to have the New Deal back on one level. They'd love to have a very, very powerful government, including a federal government, involved in directly addressing their day-to-day reality. End quote. That's quite a fantastic statement from the mayor of the most powerful city in the world. If you, regardless of what you think of that, if you're for it, you're against it, you like it, you hate it, if you had said 20 years ago that a mayor of New York would make that statement, people would, say that you're off your rocker. Mayor would never say anything like that, would never go to that extent. So what's the media response to this? Zero. A yawn, silence, forget about it. Forget about it. Not a problem, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because education in this country has shrunk down to the point where nobody learns anything about these issues. Nobody studies government, the basis of government, the basis of different governments, the basis of who rules, and then who actually rules behind the scenes. None of this is taken up in any kind of incisive way. It's gone. It's done. Finished. And in various ways, here on the show and on my website and my writings and so forth and my collections, one of the things that I try to do is to bring this back. Bring it back to people's attention. People who still can think. People who still do know how to approach ideas. People who would like to approach ideas. Now, I realize that this isn't as sexy a story as did we actually go to the moon? You know, yeah, right. Or who put the crop circles on the ground? I understand that, of course. But it affects what is going to happen to you, your children, people you love, family, friends, in the immediate future. What kind of government, which is, you know, kind of a dry, vapid word. When you say it, people tend to go to sleep. So let's call it power. What kind of power is going to run countries and the world? It's a very important issue. What Karl Marx was essentially trying to say, and he was piggybacking on others who would come before him. He was not suddenly giving birth to these ideas out of nowhere, was that the state would have to use force in order to make sure that people gave everything they had according to their ability to those according to their need. That this would not be a voluntary proposition. There would have to be a dictatorship, he used that word, in order to make this happen. But it would be a good thing because eventually when people came to accept this way of doing things and this way of life, they would see that it was a better world, a better country, and they would voluntarily support it. And then eventually, if you remember your studies, and I think probably everybody did touch on this, eventually, he said, the state would wither away, and then we would have a kind of utopia. So the dictatorship, as he shaped it and proposed it, would be a temporary thing. Who knows how long it would last and so forth. It would force people to be altruistic to the extreme. There would be no private property. That would be gone. All property would belong to, quote, everyone, whatever that actually means when you try to break it down. And you might say that all private property would be held in trust by the state, by the government, by power, coalesced at the top, in a dictatorship. For that day, that utopian dawn, when people came to their senses and elevated their consciousness to realize that everything should be shared by everybody and nothing should be owned. That was his picture. That was his dream. That was his utopia that he was envisioning. And of course, we can see that in countries like the Soviet Union and China, that dictatorship became extremely coercive. somewhere between 40 and 70 million people in China were killed by Mao Zedong. And not quite as many, but getting there, Stalin killed almost as many in Russia. Then you had the softer kinds of socialisms in places like Sweden, and then growing in England and Canada and so forth, where through significant taxation, government services were offered to everybody. And how is that working out? How is that working out in England, for example? I suggest you look into that and see what condition is that society in? Where is that society going? In fact, you have a gigantic socialism of a kind imposed upon many nations of Europe called the European Union that makes rules and regulations and so on. And they are very active indeed. How is that going? Why did the majority of the voters in England decided they wanted to leave the European Union? Look into that. What was the problem? What was that rebellion all about? Let me give you a very small example of the kind of thing in a way that Bill de Blasio, the mayor of New York, was talking about. You may not see the connection right away, but it involves each according to his ability, to each according to his need, in a strange way. In the city of Sacramento, which is the capital city of the state of California, one of the biggest economies in the world, in the shadow of the governor's office, the City Council of Sacramento has decided to embark on an adventurous program called Advance Peace, P-E-A-C-E. The level of gang violence in Sacramento has exceeded, according to the City Council, the ability of the police to deal with it. So they have put $1.5 million into the bucket, which will be apparently matched by perhaps the state, other donors, to pay certain gang members not to commit crimes in the city of Sacramento. Pay gang members not to commit crimes. They talk about providing a certain amount of education so that these gang members can graduate school, and then attempts to get them good jobs and so on and so forth. There's no discussion of whether or not the gang members want to graduate school or want, quote, good jobs. But the proposal, from everything that I've been able to determine, is not just will get you through school and try to get you a good job. These are actual payments of money in addition to that. So, Mr. Gang Member, we would like to offer you the following sum of money if you will not commit crimes over this period of time, which we will decide. Because there's nothing we can do about crime in the city of Sacramento. Well, that in a strange way is each according to his need. From each according to his ability, we presume that some of this is tax money, in other words, the ability of citizens to pay taxes, and then the gang members are said to have needs. The need to stop committing crimes, the need to have a good education, the need to get a job. Presuming, again, that they want these things. And so there will be a transfer or redistribution of money from the taxpayer to the gangs. Here's money if you agree not to commit crime. Now, some people believe that this is an innovative strategy. This is a good idea. government should be doing this, not just in Sacramento, but in other places. Perhaps a federal program. Others say it's the most insane idea they've ever heard of. Because why would you try to reward criminals? And what would be the effect of doing that on a larger scale? And could it even succeed in any way whatsoever? Why should people bother thinking about this? Because the future is being shaped by the state, the power. And what is the power going to do? What principles, what ideology, what direction, what rules, what laws, what degree of surveillance, for example, will the state be exerting in order to maintain its power? And the other thing, and I'll close with this, and I hope it does give you some food for thought, is socialism is presented as power to the people, of the people, for the people, by the people take over. And the means of production are placed in the hands of government in order to serve the needs of the many. In other words, it's described as a very generous, caring, and sharing kind of proposition. What I have been writing about lately, and I went into this last week on the show, is that behind the scenes, actually, you find in many cases that there is a collusion and a cooperation and a brotherhood that connects very tightly government to mega corporations. So that, in fact, it's not really power to the people, but it's power to the government in alignment with mega corporations, such as Monsanto and other biotech giants and giant pharmaceutical companies and giant defense contractors who make machines of destruction for war and conquest and so on and so forth. That's what is behind the curtain, behind the mask of the share and care. Think about these things. Look into these things. This is only boring when you remember perhaps how it was taught when you went to school. Because it was boring. Because it didn't really take up these issues. It didn't explore them. It didn't dig into them. And especially did not dig into hidden history, where you had mega corporations, as I was reading some passages last week, financing both sides of World War II for gain, profit, money, enormous amounts of destruction on both sides that would not have been possible unless these mega corporations were actually funding and providing military equipment and vital materials to both sides in that war. Hidden history, folks. Think about it. That's my report for tonight. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, John. Man, on fire tonight, and always you use those words, thought-provoking, and I do hope it makes people think. But I wanted to ask you, you're now on the East Coast. You've escaped the wildfires and the earthquakes, but now you've got hurricanes. Are you safe? Is the family safe?
Yes. It looks like we'll be okay because we're not close to the coast. So we're far enough from the coast that I think we'll be fine. We were talking off the air before, and we're not hearing any, scary stuff, prepping this, that, and the other thing around here. So it looks like we'll be fine. But I don't know what's going to happen to Florida, man. They could get really hammered.
Man, does it feel? I know that when we go through hurricane season, every year, and some years it's cool, other years it's not. But to have what's going on now, Harvey, absolutely pummeled Texas and Houston. That goes without saying. But I mean, barely a week later, we've got Irma. Now we've got 2 other hurricanes that are in the Atlantic that could quite possibly just follow Irma straight through, and we could, be living through maybe 4 hurricanes in 3 or 4 weeks. Does that seem crazy or unusual? Do you think it's because the eclipse? Is there something that is causing this? It just seems totally out of the norm.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of rainfall around Houston was, really extraordinary. And then, as you say, all these things in a row. I can't remember a time when that happened. I've been around for a while. I don't remember this sort of quick sequence of things going, and with such incredible force. Don't remember ever the sequence like that before.
Absolutely strange to me, and I just wake up. It's fake news and the media is bad enough to change your mood, right? But now we've got all these fires and the flooding and the storms are going on around the world. It's not just here in the United States. We're living through it here, so we're talking about it, but it's going on pretty much globally, and we have. The eastern part of the United States getting drenched, and in the western part of the United States is going up in smoke all at the same time. And it makes you wonder, this is the conspiracy side of me, feels like a pretty good distraction from all of the other crap that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis with the media.
Yeah, if this, to rank this as a distraction, would be a gigantic distraction because it's affecting so many people so horrendously, but it certainly captures people's minds. If you're in the path or anywhere close to one of these babies, I don't know what else you could be possibly thinking about.
I want to thank you for everything that you do, John, again, and we'll see you next week. Keep rolling that rock uphill.
Okay, baby. Thank you.
Thank you. Jon Rappoport, everybody. NoMoreFakeNews.com. That is the website. Start off your day every day at NoMoreFakeNews.com. All right. It's Thursday night. Let's open up the phone lines. 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. It's Fadernight, Thursday night, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'm in the chair. Your phone calls are next. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Hello, you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers.
Yes.
We're of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
Ancient Life Oil. life-changing, the real oil. CBD is truly ancient life oil from the source. This oil has no psychoactive effect and is also legal in all 50 states. When you're healthy, you're happy. The truth about this wonderful plant is that it wants to give back to mankind life, longevity, and happiness. Ancient Life Oil are golden grade, all organic, non-GMO, and infused with high-quality liquid coconut oil. It's simple. Just go to ancientlifeoil.com today. That's ancientlifeoil.com. The best, purest, organic, and non-GMO CBD in the world. Go back, Lee Tappy. The statements made regarding these products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Please consult your healthcare professional about potential interactions or other possible complications before using any product. What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring two Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The two full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129 and use the promo code JCRTWS and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go back, Lee Tappy.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Thursday night, it is Fadernight. Open lines all night long. Hello to everybody out there in YouTube land. Thought we'd do a little YouTube live tonight in addition to the rest of our syndication and radio stuff that's out there. Welcome to everybody. The call-in numbers are 323-825-5045 or 323-825 or 323-275-9695. All right. So let's set the tone here. Yes, we have a lot of stuff that's going on around the world, and I get that. I've been talking about it all week here on the show. I want to escape a little bit tonight. Have you anything to report? Have you seen anything strange in the skies? You got a cool story to tell me? And experiences, contact, Bigfoot walk through your yard. Look at that. All right, that's a pretty good. That's a pretty good tweet right there. Right as I said, Bigfoot pops up in Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Simple. At JChurchRadio. And the sandbox is hashtag F2BQ. I'm monitoring all the chat rooms here, and I'm watching what's going on. You guys are out of control tonight. And so with that, let's go. It's Thursday night. You ready to kick this off? Let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling? You're live. You're live. I guess you are not there. 3, 2, 1.
Hello.
Yes, you're live.
Hey, this is Todd from Dickinson, Texas.
Hey, Todd from Dickinson, Texas. Are you dry? How close are you to Houston?
I'm about 30 miles south of Houston and 20 miles north of Galveston.
Ooh. Okay. How are things?
They've dried out now, but it seems like almost every street here just has piles of debris and broken memories piled on the curb.
Oh,
it's
man.
a pretty heartbreaking situation.
And how about you, your family, your home?
Safe. The home is elevated about 3 feet off the ground, and we just found out 2 days ago that the hardwood floors the water got up high enough to the joist and soaked into the hardwood floors, and now they're buckling. So we are moving.
Oh man. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. And you know what I know it kind of sounds strange to say, but the one thing that if there's a bright side to this is watching the country come together, watching all of the Texans come together and put all of these differences that we have to the side and make sure that we took care of each other. And that was really, really cool. Hey, you know what I did notice, though? I don't know if you saw this picture going around on social media, but there was a couple of supermarkets in Texas that were raided of food, right? They sold all the food out, of course, right? Except for the vegetarian food. Right? And I thought, man.
I did see that.
Yeah. How hungry do you have to be in Texas before you eat tofu? Obviously, the answer is a lot. So, I mean, we can laugh about that now, but it's just really funny, right? You know what, honey? I'd rather eat these breath mints than the tofu. So let's buy out. So funny. All right, man. Well, I'm glad that you're safe. What's on your mind tonight?
Well, I would, we were talking about the secret space program earlier, and first thing that kind of popped into my head was, I guess about maybe 20 years ago when Dick Cheney came up and announced that there was $2 trillion that's unaccounted for.
Right.
Missing. No idea where it went to. That kind of seems to me like the secret space program would be a good likelihood where that money may have went. But
there's no question about it. I mean, zero. There's zero question about it. A big chunk of that went into the secret space program. There's no question about it. And, I think the other chunk, whatever the spare change was left over from, a few $1 trillion, whatever that would be, the pocket change, probably went underground, right? Underground facilities. They're digging and tunneling everywhere. And that is not so secret. And just like I was saying at the beginning of the show, what a better way to keep something secret. I mean, how easy can it be than up in space? Because there's no way for us to check on it, right? Can you go to space? I can't go to space. Nobody can go. No senators, a president, and you can't go. So not only dump the money there, but not answer for it. You don't have, who's going to check on what's going on? There's no way to do it, right? And I'm blown away by the fact that the Pentagon does not want a Space Corps. They don't want it. The House of Representatives wants it. Why? Because of accountability. Now you have to start telling us a little bit about what's going on. How many, who, what, when, where, what's going on, objectives, mission objectives. But as long as there's no official Space Corps, then there's no paper. It doesn't even exist, just like Area 51, right? Before Area 51 officially existed, can you imagine the money pit that actually was? And, well, it continues to be, but think about that. It doesn't even exist. Yeah. You remember all those lawsuits with Area 51 with people that were, exposed to chemicals and getting cancer? And they couldn't
the burn pits.
Right. The burn pits. They couldn't sue. Why? Because Area 51 didn't exist. Isn't that trippy? So all the lawsuits got thrown out. So, yeah, that's what's so fantastical about the secret space program. There's no question that there's stuff going on. The military knows that they don't want us to know. And there you go. All right. So anything else on your mind?
No, I just wanted to point that out, and thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Be safe out there. And I don't think that the hurricanes are done, and that's the crazy part. But hopefully that was a once-in-a-lifetime thing out there for Houston and you guys in Galveston. I just can't even believe that it went through. We love Texas. And it's just heartbreaking to see you guys go through that. But be safe and keep the family safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Great phone call right there. Man, 30 miles from Harvey, right? Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, this is Kendra in Ventura, 805.
Hey, Kendra, how are you tonight?
Whew, well, tripping hard as usual.
Right.
I didn't get to hear the first part of the show, unfortunately. But even yesterday, I thought of something that would honor, through music, Dio and the hurricanes situation, as well as what's going on geopolitically. And it's very simple. Run to the hills, run for your life.
Yeah, I was
something like that.
Yeah, I was talking about that last night on the show too.
That's why I immediately thought of that song. So you know what I did today? I was feeling very angry, grieving. I was crying, laughing, and really just angry at the stupidity of some things that are happening and the effects of what we're seeing now from stupid inactions over the last 3 decades of knowing about climate change and so forth. And I think music is so healing for us. So what I did was I cranked Black Sabbath's War Pigs out my window, and where I live right off of Main Street in Ventura, and it's really echoey where I live. And so I know I was rocking, at least a block or two of Midtown Ventura today. And that just felt so good to get I was singing that at the top of my lungs, and a lot of people, unfortunately, think Sabbath was all into devil worship and all that. They were very anti-war, anti-1%, and War Pigs is just a metal anthem for that. So I cranked that, and then I immediately afterwards cranked Give Peace a Chance, the classic, with Lennon and Yoko and Timothy Leary and the whole room of people. And that's another 7-minute-long song, and almost the polar opposite with the same message, though. And I cranked that out my window and sang that at the top of my lungs, and I felt so much better. So, I'm a musician. I sing. I do percussion. I used to play piano. And so I've come up, and I'll be short on this, but this is something for Fadernauts, for activists, for musicians, anyone who's feeling the grief and the pain and the anger of what's happening and anxiety and all of that is a healing. There's all kinds of cool protest songs and chants. So this one is a combination of kind of a Rage Against the Machine and call out, and then an answer type thing with peace as, the focus. So the first part is kind of like, fight the power, that kind of vibe with peaceful action. Fight the power with peaceful boycotts. Fight the power with peaceful culture. Fight the power with peaceful divestment, something like that. And you can go A to Z. And A to Z of whatever actions that we can do peacefully to turn the ship around and to make sure that we don't have nuclear war and we don't continue having these hurricanes, though what we're experiencing now is what was generated by us about 30 years ago.
Yep.
So anyway, I won't go off on a rant. I just wanted to connect with you as a music guy. I'm a music gal. And so I'm hoping I'll start hearing Give Peace a Chance blaring, or War Pigs, or what's Dylan's song?
8 million songs out of Bob Dylan.
Yeah, no, it's a very anti-war. It's similar to War Pigs' ideas. But anyway, just peaceful song and music, blaring out of, car radios and out of laptops. And, so I'm calling people to action, for us to right now just to deal with, in the best way, that's creative and very, healing is through music and playing the good old stuff and creating our own stuff. So think of A to Z, fight the power with peaceful what, and then it's also a laundry list of what we can do. And you can pick, 26 different ways or create your own A to Z peaceful list how to fight the power. So what do you think?
Thank you so much. That's what I think.
All right. Right on, man. I'll get off of here and enjoy the night, and everyone be safe out there. And my heart and prayers are going out to everybody in Florida and Mexico. And let's just, all we can do is pray and meditate. Maybe it'll, not hit as hard as we think, but I'm just, grieving and dealing with it through music right now. So thank you, Jimmy.
Absolutely, Kendra, and thank you for the phone call. The I was what I do. Let me. She hit the nail on the head. You know what I do to relax? I'm I play the heavy metal, man. I do. And there is nothing like Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden relaxes me. But the other day, somebody sent me a video. I think it was Doug Aldrich. Sent me a video of Danny from Counting Cars, right? The TV show. You know, he's a singer. He's got his band, and he's at his club, Vamped, in Vegas, singing War Pigs. Now, I knew that Danny was a singer. I had never heard him sing before, but I got to tell you, Danny's got some pipes. He nailed it. The band's pretty good, but Danny nailed War Pigs. Now, what I was going to say, commenting on what I'm not so sure if the young kids today, and I'm talking about 14, 15, 16, 17 years old, before the drinking age thing, before under 21, that age for me, what united all of us, and it didn't really matter, what united all of us was listening to music. We would listen to we would get together and listen. Maybe it was a new band or favorite bands, or we're all going to do a Black Sabbath night or whatever, Lynyrd Skynyrd, Foghat. But we would, Ted Nugent, Santana, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, we would get together and just listen to music. And I don't know if it goes down like that today. I don't know. I could be wrong. And I'm not talking about like raves or the club. I'm talking about socially. That's what we would do. We would get together and just listen to music, and how that united it and would allow us to escape and pick the music apart and have conversations and do things. I'm not so sure if it's a social world like that anymore. I don't know what's going on with that. And the other part that I was kind of tripping out, it goes without saying, but the age of bands, guitar, bass, drum, guitar, bass, drum, singer, keyboard player, standing up on a stage and playing, it used to be, and I don't want to sound old here, but it used to be that was the only way to play music, right? And the electronic stuff, which came out later, like Kraftwerk, and maybe even you could throw the Cars in and stuff like that. But that was much later. But certainly throughout the 70s and the 80s, you had to be a band to play. So you had to be musicians playing together at the same time, writing songs and vibing and getting that energy together into a song that would turn around and come out of some speakers later on for somebody else. That vibe, that tone, that thing would unite. And now we have so much electronically based music today, which all of it is, and there's nothing wrong. Artists are still artists. They're still going to create, and they have different tools to create, and I get all of that. But getting together as a band is kind of passé. What is out there today, live bands, are the bands from the 80s out there still touring. Think about it for a second. And I've got a lot of friends in those bands, and it's cool and it's great, but it's not what it was before. And I just started to really kind of absorb this. I'm not so sure what's going to go on. It's kind of like, a good V8 classic car, right? A nice V8 classic car, like a Mustang, something like Chevelle. Where is that's now a classic car. Where's the automobile industry going to be in 10 or 20 years? Is there going to be any gas? Maybe not. Probably not. Ferraris are going to be electric, right? Everything is going to change. Well, that's kind of what has happened to the music industry. It has gone through a phase. It's gone through it. How many guitars are sold today at Guitar Center compared to what was going on in the 90s and the 80s and the 70s? It's a totally different world. It's all computer-based stuff. It's crazy. So what is uniting the kids today is Is that part of what's creating some of the angst out there? That they don't have the foundation of community. Maybe they do, and they get it a different way, and they get it through cell phones, and maybe they understand what the culture is today, that they communicate and they get the personality out of somebody and make friends here instead of face-to-face, and they're okay with that, and that's the way they're growing up with that generation. Okay, I don't want to sound like I'm somebody's, like my old grandfather that would, complain about things. But with the angst in the world today, could that be part of it, right? That globally, that thing that we would do growing up, becoming friends and understanding people and different personalities and vibing and community, there is a certain ceremony and celebration that happens when you get 8, 10, 20 people together sitting around talking and listening to music. And is that part of everything missing? Think about that for a second. It kind of flips me out. I can't imagine not having that part of my life there, where today, is it even possible that this exists? And I'm not so sure that it does. So as I let my mind wander on this a couple of days ago, that's why it's pretty fascinating that we just took that call from Kendra. And I mentioned this before on the show, is this music stores. Now, just recently, in the last 10 years, they've all gone away. Here in Los Angeles, 20 million people here in Los Angeles. I can think of one record store. One. How is that possible? Growing up, that was part of our congregation and there were music stores on every block, record stores where you could go, walk in, smell the incense, and there was always some crazy dude behind the counter that you knew. He was the older guy. He was 18, out of high school, didn't go to college, but he was a big music guy. And you're 15, 14 going in, and he would turn you on. Hey, dude, check this out, man. Check out this record. It's this new, and you got the secret stuff. You would go home, maybe even make a cassette tape, a mixtape. But that thing, meet your buddies at the music store, lining up for concerts and tickets and the new album releases and all of that's all gone. And you combine that with all of the live music, all of the live bands, all of the abilities out there to get together and celebrate music and community, and that ceremony that goes along with that is gone. It can't exist today because it doesn't. There are no record stores. They don't exist. It flips me out. I have no idea. I'm just blown away by it. All right. 323-825-5045. 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. And I want to share you with this before we head off to the break. And that is this. Some things you just can't make up, right? A pair of Adolf Hitler's monogrammed size 4XL underwear are about to be auctioned off in Maryland. But that's not what's important. What is important is that some doofus out there is going to actually pay money, way too much money, for something that probably touched Adolf Hitler's ass. Now, think about what I am saying here. There is something so wrong that I just wanted everyone right now to get a mental picture, burn it into your frontal lobes right here. Just burn it in. Think about it. Somebody somewhere is going to buy it, frame it, and hang it on their wall. Seriously. It's like the an autographed copy of Mein Kampf, that drabble. Okay, that's I wouldn't even understand that. But it's stepping down to a new low and breaking through the floor into a zone that I know absolutely nothing about. That is an area that I just don't understand. Never will. Buying a pair of Adolf Hitler's monogrammed underwear. Gee. Think about that for a second. Absolutely nuts. Also, yesterday, Leslie Van Houten, who was convicted along with other members of Charlie Manson's cult in the 1969 killings of Leno and Rosemary LaBianca, was granted parole yesterday by a panel of state commissioners here in Chino, California. But Governor Jerry Brown must now once again decide whether to release her. He rejected release last year. I doubt that he lets her go. And me personally, this is just me speaking out loud. I don't care how reformed she is. I don't care what she has to say on the subject. I don't care what the prison officials say. What went down in 1969 was so wrong and just so violent and so cruel that, you know what, you just have to pay the price. You just got to write it out. And you weren't given the death penalty. But that's it. I cannot even believe that their parole board would grant parole. But they did, and they did it yesterday. It's up to Jerry Brown now. Crazy world that we live in. All right. Fade to Black. Fadernight. 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. More of your phone calls are next. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hello, Fadernauts. This is Jimmy Church, and I'm introducing New Pharma, a company whose products are based on science. Human function based on the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. New Pharma firmly believes in this science, and their research indicates that support of the ECS provides the beneficial effects for a healthy lifestyle. New Pharma's science includes relief capsules for pain relief, sleep capsules, which are natural support for occasional sleeplessness. Foundation is support for your ECS, and Fit capsules support your active lifestyle. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B for a 33% discount on all of their products. Or visit newpharma.com for all of the knowledge on the science. That's GNUpharma.com. Go Beckley Tappy.
Hi, I'm Matt Ray for U.S. Gold Bureau. I cover the market daily. No matter how strong it gets or what long-term predictions say, you can count on one thing as certain. There will be another crash. It will affect your assets. And when it happens, wouldn't you rather be 2 weeks or even 2 months ahead of the curve? Well, Wall Street insiders have been quietly converting their assets into gold for the last few years. Now it's your turn. Buying gold and silver is easier than buying stocks with the U.S. Gold Bureau's Investor Guide. It's free, and you learn how to buy precious metals in or out of an IRA or 401k retirement plan. Your investment shipped directly to your home and is 100% insured and guaranteed. You control your investments and shelter them against the stock market, politics, and unknown threats. Act while your dollar is still worth something. Call U.S. Gold Bureau, 800-885-GOLD. U.S. Gold Bureau, 800-885-GOLD, 800-885-GOLD. Call today.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
Hi, folks. CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. You know, there's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Thursday night, it is Fadernight. Open lines all night long. 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. And I'm going to hit a tweet out here really quick. Boom, 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 boom. All right, open lines. And it's Thursday night. Now, if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can. at JChurch Radio, at JChurch Radio. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. We have 2 chat rooms that are live and open over in Spreaker or KGRA, The Planet. And I just posted, this is what's really cool. I just posted in real time right now. We are the #1 show right now on Spreaker live. And if you think about all of the, I don't know, there's probably 1 million live radio shows, right? 1 million shows on Spreaker. It's a huge amount. Oh, by the way, they've now merged with Blog Talk Radio. So the 2 networks have combined. And out of those 2 networks, right now, we are the #1 live show. And right behind us, I'm looking at it, is KGRA, but we're live on KGRA2. So we technically have the #1 and #2 spots on Spreaker right now in the world, right now. How cool is that? It's pretty bleeping cool. All right. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, it's Bill over in Missouri.
Hey, Bill in Missouri. How are you?
Doing great. Sad about all of our friends in the southern part of the country, having troubles, but hopefully everybody will pull together and help everybody,
Yeah, well, and Harvey went up north towards you guys too, and Louisiana. Did you guys get any rain?
No, not yet. It's the one that's coming, the Irma or whatever, Emma or whatever that one is, one coming through Florida. It's supposed to come up all the way to southern Missouri, mid-Missouri, all the way through Kentucky. I mean, it's huge.
Yeah, that's a big storm.
And the places it's already gone, it's hitting like 185-mile-an-hour winds. I mean, I hope they die down before that because, whoa,
Yeah, I know, totally. It's kind of weird how they're back-to-back like that. And then we have a couple of more hurricanes coming in right behind Irma right now. It's just feels strange, and I don't know if it's because of the eclipse, if there's something else going on. I don't know.
I think more would have to do with it was the the heat thing that used to go up the East Coast. What do they call that?
Up the East Coast? Well, here, what did they call it? In the West, it was, man, I can't even remember what they called that. The hot.
That's been shut down, you know?
Yeah, the hot water. Man, I can't remember what they called that.
That
El
you or me?
Nino. El Nino. Bill, I think we lost Bill. He just faded away. Okay. There you go, Bill. And see, that's right there. The coronal mass ejection. I'm just wondering, that sounded weird to me. Also affected communications and radio and I guess ham operators. And tonight it's supposed to be this crazy aurora, the lights in the sky. We're here in Southern California where we don't get to see, we're in Burbank, where we don't get to see anything going on in the night sky. It just doesn't happen. We have all this light pollution, so we don't get to enjoy it. But the rest of the country, especially up north, and Canada, are you seeing some really, really cool effects in the sky? I would like to hear from you. 323-825-5045. What's going on in the night skies up in Canada right now? Idaho, Washington, Minnesota, all of these northern, I guess even upstate New York possibly too as well. I'm wondering if you guys are witnessing anything cool. All right, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, Jimmy, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Who's calling?
Hey, it's Kevin from near St. Louis.
Oh, hey, man, what's going on?
Not much. Hey, I listened to the interview you did with Clifford Mahooty, and that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Oh, yeah. Clifford is really cool. What's going on in the background?
Oh, that's my son.
How old is he?
He's 2.
Tell him I said yo.
Hey, did you hear Jimmy? He says yo.
There you go.
He's just staring at me.
Yeah, what's really cool about the Clifford conversation was his knowledge in history when it comes to the Indian mythology, the North American mythology and culture when it comes to UFOs, spirituality, and what is actually going on out there with ET contact. It comes from such a solid foundation.
Yeah, I was, I ever since I was a little kid, I've been into the UFO phenomenon and stuff, but also ever since I was a little kid, I've had this interest in like Native American culture, and I don't really know why. I just did, and maybe that's why, because nowadays I see that they're connected, you know? Yeah,
absolutely. Every sacred site that we have gone to, every single one, there's been something strange going on in the skies. It is bizarre.
Yeah. Also, just a couple other things I wanted to ask about. Are you familiar with the alleged crash in Cape Girardeau, Missouri back in 1941?
Absolutely.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Because I know some other, like that researcher we had at the MUFON meeting, he didn't know about it, so.
Yeah, when your son chills out, you should call back. He's louder than you are.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's hilarious, man. I love it, but anyway, that 1941 crash and retrieval was so buried by the government. We know about Roswell in 1947, but in 1941, you really have to search for that information. But it definitely happened. It was something that occurred. And when you go back and you think about the technology that was going on, jet engines were just in the research phase, right? Everything was still propeller driven. Missile technology was, nearly completely owned by the Germans. So what was it that crashed there? We don't know.
Yeah, there's a guy in Missouri. He's from Cape Girardeau. He's written a couple of books about it. I don't know if you're familiar with him at all. He's been on Coast to Coast, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe you should get him on one night.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. I would like to bring somebody on that historically knows everything about it. You can go and you can find a certain amount of information out about that and the retrieval. What's your son's name?
Oh, well, this part you're going to love. His name is Enoch Diaz, and then my last name. So his first two initials are ET, and that's what I always call him. So
there you go. Have a great night and be safe out there.
I'll see you, Jimmy.
You got it.
Hey, bye.
His son's name is Enoch. His son is now an official rock star. That's what I'm talking about right there. There are a couple of crash retrievals that just escaped the mainstream in ufology. And there is some research, but the thing is, the problem with it is now they are old. And second, the paper trail was squashed and was very effective. You have, and I can right now, the first thing that comes to mind, which is one of the most fascinating cases, is the Aurora, Texas crash, which was in 1897. Now, in that crash, by the way, the phone lines are open, 323-825-5045, 323-275-9695. The Aurora, Texas crash, the ET body that died in the crash was buried in town and was given a proper funeral, was written up in the newspaper, and the funeral was there. And they talked about this, I don't know if they actually called him alien, but they might have, and was buried in the local graveyard. The gravestone that marked him has been stolen and has been gone for a long time. So they don't actually know now what grave he is in, right? They don't know where he's at. But the documentation of the crash, how it happened, knocked the windmill over, debris field. They took the debris from it and threw it into a well, filled the well up full of concrete. This is all fact. The well is full of concrete. And they buried the ET body. They didn't know back then in 1890 the significance of what had actually happened. And you have to think about the communication back then. Washington never found out about it. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Yeah, I'm hopefully got to reconnect again here. This is Bill again in Missouri.
Okay, Bill. So what's on your mind?
The thing I was talking about was the Gulf Stream. We've been 10 years without that now.
Right. Yeah.
It took all that heated water out of the Gulf down there, and it took it all the way up the East Coast, up to the north, and it kind of kept the eastern waters, warm, and it kept melting the ice up there. It had it like the heated water would travel across the top, then it would come down in the bottom, melt that, and it carried a lot of heat out of the Gulf. Okay, we don't have anything carrying the heat out of the Gulf now. So now the Gulf, that heat's just sitting there, okay? Now it's got to go somewhere.
Right. Well, what about...
Now we're getting these huge hurricanes out of it,
What about the...
It's going straight up instead of up the water. It's going straight up in the air now.
Yeah. What about the gas and oil production down there in Galveston and throughout the Gulf? Have they restarted all of the oil drilling, and or are gas prices just about to just go through the roof?
I don't know, but they kind of seem to use things like that to jack the prices. I mean, it's just kind of common sense, Right. You was talking earlier about Hitler's underwear. Man, I sure hope there's no cells left in there. Somebody try to clone that dude.
Oh, no, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah. Well, let's hope there isn't anything like that in I thought about the same thing. So
Yeah.
apparently,
our gas prices here are going to $2.35 a gallon now. I don't know. We got kind of low prices compared to a lot of the areas in the country, but right now, today they was like $2.35 a gallon. So I don't know what they are. Maybe we ought to do a check, have a call in, and everybody talk about it.
Yep, and we'll do just that. Thank you so much, Bill, and be safe out there.
You too, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. When I hear gas prices, we talk about that enough here. When I hear about gas prices, look, man, Southern California, right now, gas is running about $3.50 a gallon. Okay, $3.50 a gallon. He just said $2.35. I could not imagine spending $2.35 on a gallon of gas. That would be party time. That combined with everything else here in Southern California, it is so expensive. And, housing, I don't know where you live around the country or around the world, but think about this for a second. We have 9 million people in L.A., but the surrounding area here, let's just call it, overall 20 million people. Now, there is no cheap place to live here. Okay, it doesn't exist. Now, the cheapest average kind of 2-bedroom apartment anywhere in Southern California is going to be between $1,500 and $2,500 a month. Okay, and I don't care what part of town it is. And that's before taxes. So you have to make in California just to live in a 2-bedroom apartment. That 2-bedroom apartment is going to cost you on average, and now stop and think about what I'm trying to say here, $24,000 a year. That's before you pay for your electricity, your car, your clothes, your food, your entertainment, your haircuts, and everything else. So that means, and after paying taxes, that's actually costing you you have to make $50,000 just to pay for a rented apartment. Now, add everything else into the picture, and you get what I'm saying. It is outrageously expensive to live here. To buy a house, an average, I think the median house price in LA right now it's probably $500,000 to $700,000. In Orange County, I had heard this the other day. I think the median house price in Orange County is now over $650,000. It's outrageously expensive here. And then throw in $3.50 a gallon gas, $4 a gallon. This is the craziest place to live, and we have more people moving here every single year than leave. You always hear these reports. Well, okay, 1 million people left California this year, or left L.A. this year. Well, 2 million people moved here. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, Jimmy. It's Roland calling from Melbourne, mate, in Australia.
Oh, Roland, how are you, man?
Not too bad, not too bad. I'm actually on my lunch break at work, just listening in. Love the show. Wanted to thank you very much for all the hard work you put in. And I wanted to ask, do you do the CE5 at all?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you?
Good. I do indeed. I actually first started when a couple years ago. So it's something you can't deny. Once you start doing that and you get the results, there it is, right?
Yeah, check this out. So you're on your lunch break, right, in Australia right now in Melbourne. But that's pretty trippy because it's 9:00 in the evening here in Los Angeles. That's trippy enough, but it's also tomorrow, right?
Indeed.
Yeah, it's actually September 8th on your lunch break, and we are here on September 7th. So tell me, what happens tomorrow, since you know in advance?
It's bright and sunny, and we keep, how do I say this nicely, seeing as I'm on air, we keep stuffing each other around all over the world.
When it comes to CE5, and I love it, by the way, the phenomenon is real. Have you ever done a CE5? Now, for the audience, most of them know, but a CE5 is a meeting where you get together, or you can do it by yourself, but usually it's with a group of people, and you do your little ceremony, and you are calling in our ET brothers, and you are asking for a visit or an acknowledgement or a drive-by or a flyby, and that's what a CE5 is, calling in some extraterrestrial craft, or maybe even, a being too as well. So that's what a CE5 is. Have you ever had a CE5 experience that didn't produce results?
Wow, it's a good question. I've had ones where, as a group, typically you sort of get together with a group of like-minded people, where you'll have ones that it's not clear if it's a satellite or not, because you're staring at a small ball of light that could be a satellite.
Right.
So I've certainly had those, and typically it's sort of that's with a group who doesn't have their, there's that app you can get on your phone which tells you what satellites you've got in your area and whatnot.
That's right.
But I'd have to say, on balance, almost every single one has had something. And when I say something, it could be from 16, balls of light, plasma, spheres, whatever you want to call it,
right,
above us in one situation, through, and sometimes they send down little balls of light into the trees, 50 yards from where you are. So that's, it's clear it's not a satellite at that point. But yeah, every time I've done it, I've had something, right through to telepathic communications. So it's something worthwhile people doing. That's for sure.
Now, you've heard all of my crazy stories, right? I want to
indeed.
I want to hear one from you. What was the most fantastical experience?
Okay, good call, mate. It'd have to be. I used to live in Canada, and I was in my room, and I'd been meditating using CE5 to contact ET for a few months. And I was at the point where I felt ready to have a person, meet, handshake, that kind of deal. So I, spent 3 nights meditating. And on the third night, I was inviting any ETs that were present that if they would like to meet me in my room, they're most welcome. And we would meet in the spirit of universal acceptance and kindness, and just have a chat. Let's just hang out, kind of like the first time disclaimer. And and then on the third night, and I don't know if your listeners and yourself have done this, but I've opened my third eye previously in meditation, and just quickly opening the third eye is a way to use your chakra and your meditation to see using your mind's eye when your eyes are shut. And so this opened, and I hadn't done my typical meditation process to do that. So third eye opens, and I see I'm lying there in my bed with my eyes shut, and I see all the stars of, the galaxies kind of thing. And then from that, my attention is drawn to 2 stars in particular, and a whitish sort of circle is drawn linking the 2. And then from that, I saw what could only be described as a ship that was shaped like a Y with a layer on top, so a combination between the letter Y and the letter T. And that was silently moving towards me. And then and this is from an Australian perspective, but in a full-blown American accent, it said, "Contact, use the powers." And I'm not joking. So, I had that.
What? Wait.
Yeah.
Wait. You actually sounded American for just a split second there. That was actually pretty good. But say it again.
So essentially what happened is I could hear some garbled talking, almost like a blah, 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 out in the distance somewhere. Even though I was in my room, I was fully in a deep state of meditation. So I just allowed my brain to kind of focus it in like focusing in an old radio.
Right.
And then I could feel it get closer and closer. And then at some point it just snapped, and quite loud inside, my internal hearing, whatever you would call that. It said in a real thick American accent, "Contact, use the powers." And I know that sounds corny.
No, it doesn't. It sounds cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, now at that moment, though, Daniel, you have to tell me, did you think you were tripping? You were imagining this?
Well, as a rational human being, of course I questioned it. But when you're having that kind of experience and it's within your own skull, I mean, you either just go, hey, I'm either right on the verge of going crazy here, or this is actually a thing. And when you've done as much research as I have, you know that a lot of other people have experienced similar. And so I didn't approach it with fear.
Right.
It was more of just a wonderment of like, okay, I know this is a possible thing. I'm now experiencing it. Let's just proceed with an open mind, and feeling of safety and what have you. I mean, I'm a 100-kilo dude, so I don't really care who shows up in my room. I'm going to be confident that I'm going to handle it. So, I guess I had that sort of natural position of just like, let's meet these guys. Let's do this.
Unbelievable. When are you coming over to the States next?
Well, you know what? I'm actually doing my application to get permanent residence to Canada. I hope that doesn't offend. But I would love to go down to the States. I bought a Mustang in Vegas, of all places, and drove it all the way back up to Vancouver, Canada, and it was one of the best periods in my life. So I'm very keen to do that again.
Right. That would rock. What year Mustang?
Yeah. It was a 2014 convertible.
Oh, really? Okay, V8?
Yeah. No, I'll be honest. I didn't go the V8. I'm an environmentalist, Jimmy, so I'm trying to plot that middle ground.
Now, what? Before I let you go, we've got 60 seconds left. Does Holden still make those really cool SSs over there and the V8 rear-wheel drive muscle cars?
They sure do, Jimmy. They sure do. They still sound good. They don't handle the best, but they sure should sound good.
Man, I'm telling you. Do I love Australia or what?
Oh, yeah. And we love you over here, Jimmy. I mean,
we love you.
We got a real good thing going on.
Yeah, thank you so much. Our Australian audience and our Canadian audience, UK, what goes on outside of this country is just fantastic. But we love all things Australia, and we're looking forward to getting over there next year. We will, I promise, and we'll have a chance to hang out. And then you can take me, and I want to drive a real Holden. Will you do that for me?
Oh, let's do it. We'll get a Camaro from the 70s, and we'll do it properly.
I'm talking the stuff. Thank you so much. Roland, behave, man,
Thank
and
you,
be
sir.
well. Absolutely.
Yeah, back to work. And thank you for all your work you're doing, Jimmy. You're actually really starting to build that groundwork for the world coming together and take some action on this. So well done, mate.
Yeah, thank you so much, and I really appreciate it. Be safe.
All right, bye-bye.
Be safe and be well. Australia in the house. This is Fade to Black. What a great phone call. Holden. Who knows about a Holden? 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. It's Thursday night, Fadernight. More of your phone calls next. Stay with us.
Hi everybody, this is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat. Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on the smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRAradio.com.
Do you worry a lot? If you're forgetful, nervous, moody, or overwhelmed, chances are you're not protecting yourself from the ravaging effects of stress and anxiety. No matter the cause, ongoing stress and elevated levels of the stress hormone cortisol can rob your memory, your health, your quality of life, and your future. Now you can combat the effects of stress and anxiety while improving your memory and recall at the same time with the dietary supplement Calm and Clever. Studies show that the ingredients in Calm and Clever reduce cortisol by as much as 30% in as little as 1 to 2 weeks and increase your ability to recall facts, names, and numbers in 4 to 12 weeks. Calm and Clever was created by scientist Kurt Hendricks, a principal investigator in 2 NIH-funded studies on Alzheimer's disease. Try Calm and Clever for 2 months. You'll feel the difference. Call 1-800-758-8746 or go to calmandclever.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Thursday night, it is Fadernight. Open lines all night long. 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. Can't get through on one line, go to the other. And with that, follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio, at JChurchRadio. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. We have 2 live chat rooms, too, as well. One in Spreaker and one over at KGRA, The Planet. And, of course, there is Twitter and the sandbox. With that, let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, Jimmy. This is Ray from Turlock.
Ray from Turlock. Where's Turlock?
We're about 12 miles south of Modesto.
Oh, really? And how are things? I mean, wildfires up there. Do you guys got anything burning, or are you guys cool?
It's still pretty smoky and hazy in the valley.
Unbelievable, isn't it? It's, everybody was talking about the Burbank stuff, and then I went and looked, obviously it's in our backyard, so we're concerned about that. But then you go look at the fire reports, and you look at the country, and you look at the West Coast all the way up to the Canadian border. It seems like everything is full of ash and burning right now. It's one of the craziest fire seasons we've ever had.
Yeah, I've got a friend in Colorado that sent me some pictures here a while back, and I was so concerned about them that I called up the forestry department, 4 phone calls to Washington, D.C., and finally ended up with a research station there in Fort Collins. And the girl that answered the phone was kind of new, but she said, of all the trees above 5,000 feet from Canada to Mexico, 65 to 95% of them are dead or dying.
Right.
And the horrificness of that is the fire hazard. They can't find enough people to come in and take out the dead trees.
That's one of the phenomena, excuse me, that I've talked about a couple of times on the show, but the trees themselves are dying, right?
Yeah.
Trees are dying, and for a lot of different reasons, environmentals, some bug infestations, diseases, the weather, it's hot, there's less rain. There's a lot of different reasons why the trees are dying, but the fact is they are. Is it pesticides? Is it chemtrails? It's so many different reasons why. Also, I'm going to share this with everybody. This news broke out, was reported today, and this breaks my heart. But monarch butterflies west of the Rocky Mountains are now teetering on the edge of extinction, with the number of wintering in California down by almost 90% from the 1980s. And this report was published today. The Western population has fallen to about, check this out, only 300,000 monarch butterflies. 300,000. That doesn't even sound right, does it? 10 million less than 4 decades ago, 1980s. The monarchs of the Western United States have a 63% chance of extinction in less than 20 years, and an 84% chance of extinction in under 50 years. Now, that's insanity. And I know I went through the same things as a kid as you did. Clouds of monarchs. Remember that? Just clouds of them. And it was a wonderful, you remember that, right? When you were a kid running or trying to catch a butterfly, right? And you'd run through those clouds. They don't exist anymore. And
oh no, and the festival in Monterey, that's a huge butterfly festival there, and there's practically nothing that shows up for it anymore.
No, nothing shows up. And part of it is, a big chunk of they feed on milkweed, right? Well, what do we do with milkweed? We throw pesticides on it and we kill it, right? Well, that's what they live on. And there isn't any more milkweed. It's horrible. It's just, and I don't know how to turn this trend around. And those that are running things, they don't care, right? They don't care. It's butterflies, man. Let's build some more guns. Let's worry about that.
Jimmy, the reason I called in is pretty special.
What's that?
This friend that I have in Colorado mentioned your name in your show back in January. And now I've been in aerospace now for over 41 years. And I've worked at some pretty sophisticated places, and I've got a resume that looks like a total bullshit story.
Right.
because they look at it and it's like nobody can do all of these things. But I've been involved with some secret projects with the CIA, and I turned down my share of jobs at Skunk Works and EG&G out at Area 51. It's been real interesting, but there's been a complacency that builds up in you and an apathy towards what you're doing after 40 years. And I want to tell you something that's really special.
What's that?
In January, I started listening to your show. And I got to tell you, you are one of the absolute best people I know in the world, bar none. I have such respect for how you talk to people, how you consider them, how you never put them down on the radio. You're always polite to them. Tremendous respect. And you always want to end up the show with a positive attitude.
Well, thank you.
Before
you continue, just let me say thank you, but continue.
That has started me on a whole nother journey. At one time I thought the metaphysical was intangible totally to me. And the more I listen to you, the more I get in touch with the inner me. And I started studying one of the yogas in India, because India seems to be doing a lot of interesting things these days. And that's Sadhguru. And he teaches an online meditation course, and I started taking that. The meditation is a really terrific way. It's simple. He talks you through the procedures, and I went through the first session. There's like 48 days nonstop, twice a day that you do it. It leaves my disposition in a place that, number one, I know that my mind is still screwed up, but there is hope. I may be able to get to the point where I can control my own thoughts at some point in the future.
Right.
But there's the sense of bliss that comes in every now and then, and I heard you mention that tonight. There is bliss. There is something about this life that is truly special. And you look at the grand design of things. I was talking to a friend tonight. He's a pilot for SkyWest. And we were just talking about how fantastic is it that this entire planet got designed and built, and we're here experiencing these things no matter what. I mean, you take the tiniest insect and you look at it under a microscope and you say, how could anybody possibly conceive of putting all those parts together and making them work?
Right.
I mean, it's fascinating. And it's the butterflies. He was talking about the peach bug. He said he actually took one of the peach bugs, caught it, and folded open the shell. And they have a hinged wing. It's hinged in the middle of the wing on both sides. And they can negotiate a 5-mile-an-hour wind, which is like a 3,000-mile-an-hour wind to you and me.
Right.
I mean, this stuff is fantastic. And we're only beginning to learn, about what planet Earth has. I refuse to accept defeat with the climate issues. With those in control, they're going to learn their lessons sooner or later. I hope sooner. And the answers to geoengineering, I understand there's 3 factions that I've found that are doing this. Number one is the weather control people with own the weather, the military. There's the other group that wants to have the chemicals there, so that the Monsanto groups, the aluminum-resistant plants, the UV-resistant plants, etc. And then there's the scientists. The scientists at NASA, for the most part, want to provide a shield for some of this harmful radiation that's hitting the Earth right now, and it has been for about the last 6 years, the heavy stuff. Because they're saying that the upper ozone layer is about 24% of normal.
Right.
Those scientists really genuinely want to put a shield up there to protect us. Unfortunately, some of the adverse effects from the particulates that they're putting up there are not good for living creatures. They didn't know about all of those things. They just wanted to help prevent a disaster. And one of the programs I worked on at NASA in 94 and 95 was high-altitude research to get those platforms to study the ozone layer. And I've been involved with that ever since. But there is a simple solution. Throughout all this pollution in our atmosphere, what causes the ozone layer to exist is oxygen reaching the top of atmosphere. The oxygen reacts with ultraviolet light. It basically knocks off one of the oxygen molecules. So you've got two O1s running around, and they bind with another O2 molecule that makes an O3. O3 is ozone. The ozone layer then provides a shield to a lot of the UVB and UVC radiation, and we don't see the harmful effects on Earth.
Right.
And that's the hard part right now, is that the oxygen is not reaching the top of atmosphere. So the answer is simple. Find a way to put more oxygen up there. It's the easiest thing to do, and stop the geoengineering that's going on.
So plant more trees.
Plant more trees.
Right.
Again, there's Sadhguru. Sadhguru went to one of those, what do they say, of 85 people own 99% of the wealth on planet Earth.
That's right.
Something to that effect. Well, Sadhguru went to one of the cosmetic manufacturers in France and actually got them to commit to planting 50 million trees in India. And so far, out of 6 years, they've got 22 million trees planted.
Wow.
I mean, what a great model. I mean, this guy has done some terrific things.
The other day I read this and I double checked and I vetted it. 6 people, 6 individuals have half of the money in the world. Half. They have more money than 3.5 billion people. Half of the money in the world. Now, half, 6 people, there is a problem here if that is the case. And how nobody knows about it is beyond me. But this is the other thing. How come 3.5 billion people don't riot, right? and go up to these homes, and there isn't that kind of protection, but nobody wants to do anything about it. But does that even seem right? Does that seem natural? Does that seem like the balance of things are correct? When 6 people have half of the world's money? Half.
No.
Half.
No.
It's trillions of dollars. It's a scary, 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 scary thought. But that is really the truth. I wanted to ask you really quick before I let you go. What is going on with NASA, though, when we hear all of these reports about chemtrails and, getting official confirmation on it? That's one of the crazy conspiracies out there, trying to get, verification and confirmation that this is going on. And then NASA is, talked publicly about working with, I think it was, maybe it was Harvard. It was Harvard, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah,
is there? Are you currently employed with NASA?
No.
Okay, so can you talk about it?
Yep. And I didn't sign a non-disclosure agreement either.
Okay, all right. Well, let's see how we'll see how quickly they shut this show down right now. Is NASA participating in chemtrails, and are they spraying things into our atmosphere?
NASA is not spraying into our atmosphere. However, they are aware of everything that goes on with our atmosphere. The attempt with Harvard is to bring it into full public view.
That's interesting. And you said something else I've found fascinating, which is this. I feel a sneeze coming on, so I may have to hit the cough button and sneeze live on the air. The camera's going to catch it, but they won't hear it. Don't you hate that? You feel it. You know what's coming. Okay, well, anyway, about 6 months ago, there was a report coming out that they were testing and thinking about spraying salt and some other particulates into the atmosphere down in Antarctica to get some testing done to try to figure out how to reflect the sun and reflect the sun's heat from high in the atmosphere. Now, the crazy part about this is that it would then mean that our rain would be salt water, right? Now, and I'm thinking about this for a second. Now, they were actually they are doing this testing right now. But what brainiac thinks that this is actually a good thing? You know, I understand the intent, right? Trying to slow down global warming and trying to figure out how to control this kind of stuff. But salt water raining from the skies, to me, sounds like a bad idea. But this is something that they are actually considering. Did you hear about this research?
Yes, and it falls right in line with the chemical ice nucleation that they're already doing. Not NASA, but other agencies.
Right.
And the problem with the chemical ice nucleation, that's where we have those huge round balls that show up on the Great Lakes shores. Some of them were measured up to 80 pounds. And in 40-degree temperature water, it's
right.
like, how can it? And the Weather Channel even said, these are ice balls. I'm like, no, ice balls can't exist in 40-degree temperature waters. Those are chemically nucleated ice balls.
That's right.
Well, that's when they just put two chemicals together that cause lower than 32-degree temperatures and basically freezes everything in one amalgamated mass. The problem with it is the color. The color is gray.
Right.
It's not white.
Right.
That's what they're trying to do with the salt. They're trying to get the albedo, or the reflected light, to be as close to what would be there with the typical snowpack, because we don't have the snowpacks that we should.
That's right.
So the radiation, the sunlight that's hitting Earth, NASA has a study with the ERB satellite and then later with the SIRIUS, the Cloud and Earth Radiant Energy System, and I spent about 4 years working with that program. The Cloud and Earth Radiant Energy System is to study the Earth's energy balance. In other words, how much it receives, how much energy does it get from the sun, and how much does it re-radiate back into space. And the difference is measured over a period of time, and that can tell you whether or not you've got climate change going on. Because if the Earth is gaining temperatures, of course it's going to be warming, and the temperature in the oceans are going up, and then you have big problems. But the chemical ice nucleated materials over the poles has got a grayish color, not white, and it won't reflect the sunlight. So they've got incredible methane gas releases going on right now, both from the tundra and from the ocean floors, heating up to where this previously frozen material is thawing out and being released. And they're predicting some pretty nasty releases in the near future just because of the temperatures.
Absolutely fascinating. And when I had read about this, the gray 40-degree ice balls, and you read this and you just think this can't be something that is being pursued. And then you hear the other side when we talk about this and we cry about it, that we are just tinfoil hat conspiracy theorists, quit freaking out. We have both things going on at the same time. And it's like, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. 40-degree ice balls, right? So,
Jimmy, it's not as crazy as all that. I was at JPL one day, and I saw this guy running around in a pink tutu. And I said, who the hell is that? And one of the other fellows says, that's our chief mathematician. Don't bother him.
Right. That's the mission director. Yeah, leave him alone.
Yeah.
Now, what about what's going on right now? Obviously, something funky is going on with the weather systems because we have flooding and natural disasters going on all over the globe. It's not just here in the United States. Bangladesh is underwater, and so forth. but we have the wildfires going on that we just referenced. But these back-to-back Category 4, Category 5 hurricanes, Jose just got elevated to a 3. It's about to go to a 4. It's right behind Irma, which was right behind Harvey. What is going on with this? Is this natural? Is this Mother Earth? Or is this climate change, global warming? Or is there something more nefarious about?
Well, you have to put everything together, because I can guarantee you this from my experience at NASA. Number one, there is no computer model in the world that can predict what's going to happen in the next 2 seconds in our weather. It changes that fast. There are so many particulates. There are so many interactions. There is no model that can do any good. They have several things in place right now, microwave stations throughout the world that manipulate some of the metallic particles that are being put in our atmosphere, and they do some fantastic things with these. Some of these are the HARP sites. Some are part of the NEXRAD sites for the weather radar for aircraft systems.
Sure.
They're doing some pretty amazing things. And these programs all are near AI. In other words, they've got active feedback to them, to where a programmer is going to say, I want it to rain here at Langley, Virginia, 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And these computer programs will steer all of these microwave sites around and manipulate the clouds to such a structure that 2 o'clock that afternoon it rains. But what they don't think about is, for it to rain there, it means it has to be drought somewhere else, because they're moving the weather out of a normal pattern. We have screwed up our weather pattern on Earth so bad that it's going to take another 10 years just to recover from not doing anything to it. So there's a group of people that say, we can't stop now, we're in too deep. Well, the more they do, the more warming that happens, the greater these storms are going to be. And that is a natural consequence, because it's kind of like being on the avalanche, heading down towards the bottom of the cliff.
What was your name again?
Ray.
Ray.
Otherwise known, a.k.a. Mr. Anonymous.
Yeah, Mr. Anonymous. Ray, before you know, I've got to head to a break here, so let me ask you really quick before the break. Don't we have the technology to do the opposite with these hurricanes? We do cloud seeding to cause rain. Is there something that we could do and fly in and break up these weather systems? Or are we stuck?
That's an excellent question. And I want to say, yes, we can. However, there are other forces at work here that I can't accommodate or answer for. But I would say this. Out of the insurance networks that do their banking through Chicago, I would watch the index in Chicago in the next few weeks and find out who to invest in.
Yeah.
Because that's where the money's going to go through.
Yeah, I feel the same way with this as well. But there has to, whether it is, like I said, some kind of opposite cloud seeding, flying some kind of 747 through there and doing a Monsanto chemical drop and breaking it up. But I would also think that there would be some kind of ion heating beam, craft boat that you could, what I mean? That you could bust up this weather system instead of causing this billions of dollars of damage and disrupting lives. But maybe they want to do this and they want to profit from the rebuilding. I don't know. But I would think that the technology is there.
Yeah, no, there's a lot to it, and figure that whatever technology we have, there may be other countries that have as formidable technology, and maybe we're really at war with those people in our atmosphere.
Absolutely. Ray, I got to head to a break. Thank you for the phone call, and we'll be in touch. I want to get some more information out of you, and well, you know this already, but thank you for the phone call, man. Loved it. Thank you so much.
You're the man. Thanks to you.
Thank you, Ray. Behave and be well, Mr. Anonymous.
Thanks, sir.
I'll talk to you, man. Great phone call. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Thursday night, Fader Night. If you're on hold, stay right there. 323-825-5745. 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. This is Fade to Black. Fader Night. I'll be right back.
Hey, what up, y'all? It's your girl, Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
So you went to dinner last night, you had your favorite pasta. Ugh. Or maybe you had a heavy, spicy meal and it left you. Ugh. Get the tea.com. Maybe you mowed down a huge steak and your plumbing is all plugged. Ugh. Get the tea.com. Our super strength tea will take care of your occasional. Ugh. It's all organic and non-GMO. Get rid of ugh. We have so many great supplements, but our super tea is number one. GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roasted to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Tepe.
I'm Matt Ray with America's First News. We all know if you're planning a trip, you should shop and compare, right? But why endlessly search the web when you don't have to? Flight Services helps you find the lowest possible airfare. Talk directly to a travel pro right now for the best deals available. Their travel pros have additional discounts not found on websites, and Flight Services provides 24-hour customer service. Call toll-free 844-845-9944. That's 844-845-9944.
What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring two Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The two full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129 and use the promo code JCRTWS and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to JimmyChurchRadio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Tepe. It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Thursday night, Fader Night. If you're on hold, stay right there. I'll get to you. 323-825-5045. or 323-275-9695. You can follow me on Twitter at jchurchradio. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. And with that, it's Thursday night. It's Fader night. Let's go straight back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
RJ of the Arctic, sir. Boss, how you doing?
RJ, you know what's great when I hear your voice?
What's that?
4 years, man. 4 years you've been calling into this show. And you know what's funny? It's 4 years, but it's only been 4 calls. But they've all been great.
4 calls. Yeah, I think it's a few more than that, but that's all right.
Yeah, a couple calls
good.
a year. What's on your mind, my friend?
Food for thought for Bigfoot enthusiasts. Now, I don't know if they exist or not. I'd like to believe that they do.
Right.
And the unfortunate part is that we've lost 1 million acres in Montana, which is my home state. The area that I live in or was born and raised in is completely surrounded by fires. That's Libby, Montana.
Right.
And the entire Northwest. Washington State lost 5 firefighters. And it's just, it's out of control. I've never seen it this bad. But what's going to come out of this is the possible opportunity of finding the bodies of Sasquatch. Because I don't care how fast they are, how fast they can go. For instance, somebody in my hometown newspaper posted a picture of a mountain lion that was in a tree that had died from the fire. He was burned up, but he was, attempting to escape by climbing the tree. So what do you suppose the odds are that somebody's going to find a Sasquatch body out there if they truly exist, or the opportunity for somebody to run into one that's trying to escape the fire? I would think it would be pretty big.
Well, and let's say the answer is yes, but we would never see it.
That's possible.
You would see the white semis pull up, right, with the mobile laboratories, the hazmat suits jumping out, the crime scene tape going up. Yeah, nothing to see here, folks.
Yeah, move along.
Yeah,
it's a bear.
Yeah, right. It's a bear. Because I think, well, first off, we have the interdimensional side of things. There's a possibility there. But the other part is, if Sasquatch exists, if Bigfoot exists, very smart biped. And outsmarting us and living deep in the woods and avoiding us and outsmarting us. We didn't even know pandas existed until just recently, right? That was a rumored, think about that, right? Okay, so, but pandas do exist, but they have been able to avoid us and hang out for thousands of years, right? And live down rumors. But nonetheless, back to Bigfoot, they probably buried themselves, right? When they died, buried their siblings and relatives and did that. And the other part about a Sasquatch body or a Bigfoot body, and this is a fact, there are no chimpanzee skeletons. Right. There are no chimpanzee fossils. It's a bizarre thing when we stop and just, wrap your mind around that for a second. Go into the thickest of jungles and come out and bring me a chimpanzee body or skeleton.
Exactly. Well, for that matter, a bear.
Right.
Literally, you can't talk to anybody in the Northwest that's ever run across the bear carcass just from natural causes or whatever. I don't know where they go.
No.
They disappear.
They disappear.
So that's pretty odd.
Yeah, absolutely.
But before I hang up.
Sure.
Oh, go ahead.
No, it's on you.
Before I hang up, the Australian guy who called in, that was fun. You haven't had a bad caller tonight, dude. This has been a really good show. Excellent show. But what I was going to say in reference to the Australian guy, in 2000, I fought the fires or took part in the firefighting in Montana when I still lived in Libby. And I had the privilege of driving a guy that was in charge of the Australian firefighters that came over. They were fire bosses, not the ground troops, but the fire bosses. We had 27 guys. There were some from Australia, some from New Zealand, and some from Tasmania. Hardest working people I have ever seen in my life. I mean, these guys could outwork anybody. The hot shots, it doesn't matter.
Right.
And the guy I had the privilege of driving was Tony Lovick, who later on went on to but was awarded a medal from the Queen of England for his efforts in a fire in Australia. The guy is amazing. He also was the guy that created the movie, or helped create it. It was his idea, Man from Snowy River.
Oh, really?
But yes.
That was a great movie.
They call him the Mountain Horseman of Australia, Tony Lovick. I'm sure the guy's probably heard of him. If not, he's heard from the Lovick family. But these guys are amazing, and I have his hard hat hanging in my office. He autographed it for me. But I'm telling you, I have so much respect for Australians and New Zealanders and Tasmanian guys. They are amazing.
I wanted to ask you, and thank you for that, and you know Twitter's about to go on fire right now. Of course, man, we know Lovick, right? Okay, so is this, with your law enforcement background, and I still have a folder with your pictures in it. They're just absolutely funny for me to look at. With your law enforcement background, you get a phone call, and I think you and I talked about this once before in some degree when we talked about Bigfoot. But if you got a phone call came in, a 911 call about a Bigfoot sighting, what does law enforcement do with that?
Well, you know what? I think it all depends on who's on duty. If it was me, I'd be on that so fast it'd make your head spin.
Right.
Because I'm interested in it, and I'm walking the tightrope on that one. I don't know if it exists, but I'd love to see it, But at the same time, I don't sleep in tents when I go camping either.
Right, right.
I'm a chicken, for that. But that's a good question.
And
what about, I'm telling you,
well, let's stay on this for just a second. With David Pilates and his Missing 411 books and the national parks, and we were just talking about Libby, Montana, and the national parks, and you have a lot of experience with this. But what do you think about that? What do you think is going on with the national parks? Bodies being found in strange position without their shoes or clothes and weirdness around it, where the law enforcement has a different story for the investigation, or they don't investigate, or they try to hide it, or they're losing paperwork, or they have an excuse for it, or they don't allow independent investigation. There's a string of excuses around all of these missing persons cases, these strange death cases that are going on in the national parks. Pilates avoids the Bigfoot connection there, and he's done enough research where I respect where he's coming from. What do you think is going on with that?
Gosh. There's a lot of, I honestly couldn't pin that on Bigfoot either. I mean, for me. And I honestly believe that it's most likely when, like the little kid, I just read a story about the little boy that was disappeared from a camping ground area, and his body was found up a hill. I mean, way the heck up a mountain.
Right.
Where a little kid that age wouldn't be able to even climb.
That's right.
And he was missing his pants and stuff like that. It's very strange. And if there was no marks on him from animals, I have to assume it was a person that did it. There's a lot of evil people out there, and it's not unreasonable to believe that they're not hiding out in the woods. But it could be a stretch to blame it on Bigfoot. I really believe that. But is it paranormal? That could be, But why or what would the purpose be of that? I mean, I don't remember seeing anything about the child being sexually molested or sexually assaulted.
That's right.
So why? What is the purpose? So then you got to start thinking about, well, maybe it could be a Sasquatch. Maybe, who knows, a juvenile Sasquatch decides to carry off some little kid and, maybe unexpectedly killed him. I don't know.
Right.
It's just don't know. Now, I just read a story today about the the piece that Roosevelt wrote in his book. Name escapes me at the moment, about a gentleman who he knew real well, who back in the 1800s, that told him the story about his buddy who was killed by what he believed was a Sasquatch. Are you familiar with that story?
Yeah, I saw a little piece on it today myself. Yes.
Very interesting. Somebody put up a piece on YouTube about it, and it was like fascinating as heck. Very fascinating. But it's one of those deals where I don't know what to believe about it. It fascinates me. I got to meet Roger Patterson years ago when I was about 13, maybe 12. And when I got home from that presentation, that's when he was touring the country with the video or the film.
Right.
And I went to it. I got home, and my dad and uncle were sitting at the table, and my dad says, well, how was that program? I said, it was fine. Well, they grew up in a place called Iron Creek in Troy, Montana, on a homestead about 400 acres that one of my uncles still owns, the uncle that was there, as a matter of fact. But when they were little boys, they remember going down Iron Creek, and they kind of stopped in their tracks as they were going down the creek because something had stepped on a muddy bank and pushed the bank down into the water, and the mud was still swarming like it had just happened. And they looked at the footprint, and it was a huge footprint. Well, they didn't have any knowledge of Sasquatch or Bigfoot back then, but they thought to themselves, this is the biggest bear in the world, and they ran home. But when I got home, they said, well, because I went to that program, they started talking about it, and they said, you know what? Thinking back at it, we both agree that there's a very good possibility that what we had there was some type of a bipedal, a Sasquatch or Bigfoot. And it's always stuck with me, and that's one reason I don't sleep in tents.
Yeah, and then we had that crazy thing up at ECETI with Lorcan O'Toole. And I know, talking, face-to-face with Lorcan and hearing him recount, there were a few witnesses. It wasn't just him, but something was seen that night. And again, was it interdimensional? We missed it, but there is certainly something going on. Before I let you go, we got
Clyde Lewis too.
Clyde Lewis. Yeah. We're winding down to the end of the show. With this crazy weather that's going on, are you in Alaska right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What's the weather like up there? Is it trippy or is it normal?
It's normal. It's raining right now, and it's getting pretty cold. We'll start switching over to winter, and the last of the swans will be leaving very soon with their youngins. But it's pretty much normal right now.
All right.
There hasn't been anything unusual. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Randy, and thank you for checking in. Don't be a stranger. It's been too long.
All right. We'll talk to y'all later. Good night, everybody.
You got
Bye-bye.
it. RJ Cole. RJ. You know what's great about hearing from RJ? Going back to the very, very beginning of Fade to Black, RJ has been with us, and we don't hear from him often enough. But thank you for that phone call. Man, it's just like talking to an old friend. Well, we are talking to an old friend. RJ Cole. All right, 323-825-5045. Looking at the clock here. I got time for maybe one or two more calls. 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. Everybody that was on hold left. Okay, so I do have two open phone banks right now. 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. Fadernight, Thursday night, right here on Fade to Black. Now, a couple of little news things that I want to get in definitely before we wrap the show tonight. Is this a Pfizer unit? Before I get to that, I just saw. I want this to get retweeted out there. Somebody, it's right here. I'm going to retweet this. I'm assuming this is coming in from Nethead, so I'm going to retweet this. It's Equifax's page for checking to see if you got violated by the hackers. So there you go. I've just retweeted that out right now. And wow, hold on a minute here. I think we've got. Let me see. Let me check this. This looks interesting. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, Mr. Church, how's it going? It's Jason.
Jason, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, bud?
Man, I saw the phone number. I thought it was the UK. I was like, wow, this looks
I'm
interesting.
far from the UK.
Okay. What's on your mind tonight, Jason?
You know, I just was musing a little bit this week about conspiracy being the new norm, and how I'm not exactly sure that that's a good thing. I was starting to feel like that now that maybe the system has a little bit of safeguards built into it, where people get these ideas out, and then all of a sudden they glom onto it, and then all of a sudden everything gets lumped into conspiracy, and then nobody can tell the truth from fiction.
That's
you
right.
know?
That's right.
Where you know, for a while the conspiracy was ours.
Yeah,
you know?
we were safe,
and we were able to regulate ourselves. You know?
Yes.
And now everybody. I mean, I know you don't pay too much attention to what's going on on YouTube channels and the like, but I have seen people who have said that NASA never existed. NASA has never sent any probes anywhere. Never been outside of the planet. Every single thing you see is a lie, and then it bogs the whole thing down where you can't bring forth an actual conspiracy. You can't say, you know what, let's take a look at this, without 1,000 people saying, yeah, every single thing you see, nothing ever happened. And it just muddies the waters to the point where I just feel like nobody can get any actual investigation and actually look into the truth of anything. And it's just something that's been bothering me for a little bit of time, you know?
Well, but Jason, you bring up one of the best points that you can bring up, that when I talk about conspiracy being the new normal, I talked about this last week, and I really mean this. When we've always wanted to get accepted, I'm talking about our community, right? We wanted to be heard. We wanted this, and we were being ignored, and we were being lumped into the crazy tinfoil hat crowd, right? And now we have the situation where we have a president sitting in the Oval Office that absolutely listens to Alex Jones. Right now we have our president is a conspiracy theorist, right? We have him talking about the deep state. So it's like, be careful what you wish for, right? So we have that aspect, and then you lump into all of that the fact that fake news made its way across the United States, across the world, around the world last year, where now I would say that the majority of the world now accepts the fact that they can't believe what they read and they don't trust mass media. So now we have that conspiracy being accepted. Now it is become, when I say conspiracy is the new normal, now we have the problem that you are addressing here, that there are people out there now that think that the world is flat. Right? We have flat earthers that actually think the world is flat. They really believe this, right? And everything, if the world is flat, that means everything that you have been taught, learned, spoken about, or any book, anything, anywhere, any authority figure, any law enforcement, any politician, anybody that's got a pulse has been lying to you. Your teachers, your clergy, your politicians, your newscasters, the firefighters, the pilots, the scientists. Everything is this huge worldwide conspiracy, and we are living in it. You are absolutely 100% correct, Jason. Now, be careful what you wish for, because now it's over the top.
And doesn't it seem like it almost maybe, I hate to put it, maybe there's a safeguard in the system where you hit this tipping point where the system then floods the alternative media and floods everybody with, okay, everything's fake. And then people lose their sense of discernment. People can't decide for themselves in that point. And then any type of progress that people are making as far as finding an actual truth just totally gets undermined. because of it. And it's almost like, it's like with the term deep state, to be honest with you. Like for the years, it was the cabal, it was the Illuminati, and then all of a sudden this term deep state comes up. I never heard the term deep state until Fox News and CNN. And they started talking about the deep state. Now, anytime you talk to somebody, it's the deep state. But it's always like people pick their exit ramp off the highway of truth. And then that's my truth. And I feel like the term deep state is a prime example because I never heard the term deep state until the mainstream media started talking about the deep state. I never heard it. I never talked about it. It was always the cabal, the Illuminati, et cetera.
Right.
And like that's a red flag to me automatically. You know, I just
when you have the White House talking about and referencing getting pushed around by the deep state and the shadow government, man, I think we got a problem here. And then and then let's take it up a notch. Let's take it up one more notch above all of this, Jason. Then we have Silicon Valley, very rich, very smart men up there that are saying, you know, maybe this is all just AI. Maybe this is AR. Maybe we're living in a binary world. Maybe we are living in the Matrix. You know what? Maybe this is just all fake. Maybe we are just ones and zeros. Maybe we are just Neo. Now, that we're talking about very smart, very rich people that are now contemplating the thought that we are living in an artificial reality created. And then maybe maybe it is all one big, maybe it's just like, wow, holy crap. You know, I don't know, man. I don't know anymore. You know, I don't know.
But they've got the D-Wave computer to back up their science, which is the real freaky thing. You know, if you think about it, like the D-Wave computer doesn't function on nothing. It functions on a premise, and they've proven that concept, which is crazy to think about.
Well, the good news is in this artificial world, I still have the Burger King Crunch Berry Captain Crunch shakes. Right? In this artificial world, at least I have that. Hey, Jason, thank you for being the last call tonight, my friend.
Thank you, sir. You have a good weekend. Be safe.
Yeah, you too. That's how we end the show, with a call like that. Thank you, Jason. Yeah, isn't that just the trippiest thought? You know, conspiracy being the new normal. And I started, I'll take credit for it. I coined that phrase. And got that out there. But you know what? Be careful what you wish for. Be careful, man. Do you really want everybody to start thinking like us? Because this was our world, man. This was our little zone that we lived in. All right, I'm gonna leave you with this. I just want to leave on a high positive note. And it's this. A Wisconsin man wanted for parole violation tried to hide from police in a communal recycling bin, only to suffer a serious head injury when he was dumped into a recycling truck, you know what, and crush with the rest of the dumpster's contents. That's right. The drama began this past Tuesday morning when Appleton police officer noticed a disturbance in a parking lot. He approached the suspect, identified only as a 36-year-old man. He ran out of a vehicle, climbed a fence, and ran through a residential neighborhood. Short time later, the recycling truck's driver contacted police to report that he had heard yelling from inside of the truck. That's right. Dude got picked up by a dumpster truck and then got caught. That's what I'm talking about. All right. That wraps another Thursday night Fader Night right here on Fade to Black. Got to thank the one and only Jon Rappoport for coming in and sharing his wisdom. Fade to Black's executive producers Rita Kamarian. Show is produced by Hilton J. Paul, Mark D. Kovar, LJ3, Renee, Jonas. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Fady by Dale. Webmaster Drew the Geek. Music Doug Aldrich. Intro Spaceboy. SpaceboyMusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA The Planet. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2017 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Everybody have a great, safe, fun weekend. We'll see you right here on Monday. Until then, follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Everybody be safe. Go Beckley Tepe.